Welcome back to FM Story. We are approaching the midway point of season 2 of this save with Milan, and things have started pretty well. We are top of the table. We did unfortunately have some disappointing results in the last episode, including defeats against Arsenal in the Champions League and a big hammering against Juventus in the league. Going into this episode, we've got some big games coming up. We've got Inter in the league. We've got Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and we've got a chance for revenge against Juventus in the Supercoppa semi-final. Without further ado, let's get into the action. We're in the middle of December, and we've had 3 games since the end of the last episode, and that disappointing defeat against Arsenal in the Champions League. League-wise, things have gone pretty well. We won 3-1 against Hellas Verona, hat-trick from Chukwueze, and despite the fact that we played 50 minutes plus with 10 men. We then won 5-1 away from home against Lazio, and then in our most recent game, we lost 3-2 at home against Bayern in the Champions League. Not the best of performances, and that now makes it 3 defeats out of our opening 6 games in the Champions League, and that sees us down in 16th position, and we need to pull our finger out. There's still a chance that we can finish in the top 8 and miss the playoff round. We've got Valencia, who are in 23rd, and Rangers, who are in 29th in the last 2 games to come at the end of January. And as far as the league's concerned, we're 4 points clear at the top of the table. Things are going well. We've lost the 2 games. The first one against Sassuolo, who'd just been newly promoted. The second one was a hammering against Juventus, who haven't been able to put that kind of performance in too much because they're down in 5th. We've got Inter coming up in the league next. We have already beaten them in the Champions League. But I think this could be a dangerous game for us. They're not having the best of seasons. They've already sacked the manager. They're down in 12th with 19 points from 15 games. We've nearly got double the amount of points that they've got. But it's a derby. Anything can happen. And hopefully we can keep our performance levels up. So, going into the game against Inter, now managed by Thomas Tuchel after Xabi Alonso's failed spell at the club. We've made 5 changes from the team that started that last game against Bayern Munich. Tomori and Thiago have both been suffering with injuries and suspension. They both come back in. Kyle Walker comes back in at right back. Fofana comes in the central midfield. And Leao has been out for a little while with an injury. He comes back as he's finding his way back to full fitness. It's 4-2-3-1 against 4-2-3-1. Not much happening in the opening 10 minutes here. Draw for them. Lumped long up the field. Theo Hernandez, who's already been booked, brings it clear. Leao. Back to Thiago. Theo Hernandez again on the left. Reinders to Leao. Back to Reinders. Pulls it back to the edge of the area to Benassi. Takes a touch. His shot's blocked. I mean, it took far too long to get that shot off. Tomori now going around the outside on the right. Walker gets a cross into the back post. Jimenez with a header. And it's just over the top. And Walker with a throw. Reinders into Benassa. Fofana back to Thiago. Theo Hernandez and Leao were in acres of space on the left. Hernandez cuts in, but can't keep the shot down. Throw for them. Trying to work into the box. Sosa cuts it out. Walker gives it away in our box. And it sort of gives it to Walker. He couldn't have found Thuram better if he tried. And he finds Lautaro Martinez And that is us 1-0 down, very much against the run of play in terms of what we've seen in the highlights. Right, a corner for us, in swinging to the near post. Thiaw with the header. It comes off the post, and I'm beginning to think this is not going to be our day. Thiaw Hernandez with the throw. Leao into Reinders, back to Leao. This really isn't our day. The keeper parries it out. Jimenez shoots. It comes off the back of a defender and goes behind for a corner. Deep. And they've headed clear. Jimenez now lifts it into the box. They've got a head on that again, and it's behind for another corner. And yet again, we wasted another good chance. Now, Benassa with a deep corner. Another header that comes back off the woodwork. Fofana goes for a shot that's just always going to hit the defender. And there's half time, and we're 1-0 down. And we have been abysmal in front of goal in this first half. And we are just not performing. Right, we made a couple of changes at half time. Benassa and Jimenez had shocking first half, so Reinders has dropped back into the midfield for Benassa. Profundi's come on in the number 10 role, and Orestano's coming up front instead of Jimenez. Right, we've made another couple of changes and brought on Musa and Chukwueze. Musa with a corner here. Flat one. Mori gets his head on it, and thankfully we've finally levelled it up at one apiece. Just drills it into that near post. Tomori gets up. The header comes off the underside of the bar and bounces down and into the roof of the net. Right, we made a final change and taken off Leao, who's coming back from that knock, and brought Ratkov on the left. They've got a free kick though. Calhanoglu back to Pallard. We've got it back. And we get placed forward. Chukwueze. Musa. Chukwueze into the box. There's Ratkov to sweep home, but I think he is offside. If he's not offside, he's judged the run perfectly because he looked well in front of the defence. But it's been disallowed. Yeah, he just had gone far too early. And there we are, full time 1-1. Really not our best performance. We created chances, but we were abysmal in front of goal. And in the end, we were pretty lucky to come away with a point, I think. We've made it into February and we're now past the January transfer window. We nearly pulled off a big deal at the end of the January transfer window for Florian Wirtz. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the money together to make the deal go through. Things have gone pretty well since that draw against Inter, but we have done some work in the transfer market. First up, in terms of the outgoings, a couple of young players gone out on loan from the B-side. Emerson Royale's gone to Brighton on a loan deal. If we place 10 league games, we get 17.5 million, but he hasn't played any league games in 2 weeks so far. And then Ruben Loftus-Cheek has gone on loan to Brentford, and that one's got a mandatory £29.5 million fee at the end of that loan deal. And then moving on to the incomings, 2 players in, one a young player that was already done, Sonny Bardo. We looked at, when we were looking at all the youth intake players that came in, there's some cracking stats already, in particular those mental stats. But he's got 14 for dribbling, 14 for first touch, 14 for passing, 17 for technique. And then in the mentals, looking at that bravery, flair, teamwork, even the work rate and the leadership are pretty decent, and the determination. And then having pushed Tijjani Reinders forwards into the number 10 role, we've kind of struggled for a partner that was consistent alongside Benassa. So we've gone in and splashed out on Bacciarina. I think it was 25 million up front and then the rest in add-ons. He's come in and hit the ground running pretty quickly. And I mean, if you look at what his value now is, it's right around that 100 million mark already after only a handful of games with us. There is another deal done that will go through at the end of the season. Noah Okafor, who's on loan at West Ham, there was a deal in place that if he played 20 games for West Ham, he would go. He's played 22, so he's going to go, and we're going to get 17 million in total for him. And then, obviously, having left off at the last episode, at the end previously with the 1-1 draw against Inter, we then lost the next game 2-0 at home against away at Torino. Sorry, pretty poor performance that saw Theo Hernandez sent off. We then beat Medina 4-1. We got revenge over Juventus in the Super Cup semi-final, winning 2-1 with a late goal from Calabria. And then we beat Inter 3-2 in the final with Rafael Leao popping up to get the winner and our first bit of silverware for the season. We then won 3-2 at home against Fiorentina. We comfortably disposed of Roma in the third round of the Coppa Italia before winning 3-1 away at Salernitana. We then got beat 2-1 away at Rangers after taking the lead after 2 minutes. The Champions League campaign's not been great. That was 4 defeats in the opening 7 games of the league phase and did put us in jeopardy of not making it into the knockout stages. We beat Udinese 2-1 and then won 2-0 away at Valencia on the last day of the Champions League. As far as the league phase is concerned, we finished 16th in that league phase. So in the end, we comfortably made it into the knockout stages. We are going to have to play in the playoff round though. And depending on how the draw's done, if it's done like it is in real life, we've got a horrible chance of playing one of Juventus or Inter in the next round. The draw's to be made tomorrow. And then as far as the league's concerned, we are top. We're a point clear of Atalanta. We've played a game more, or a game less, sorry. We've got a game in hand on them. Things are looking pretty good, especially when you consider the bad seasons that Juventus and Inter are having. We have lost to Torino, Juventus and Sassuolo. So Torino and Juventus down in 9th and 8th. Sassuolo newly promoted but up in 4th. And hopefully we can take advantage of the fact that Inter and Juve are having poor seasons. So, time for a game up now against Monza. They were down in 15th in the league, so we hope to have a result here. We have made some changes to the sides that played in the last game. We've got Bacciarina alongside Benassa. We've got Chukwueze and Sorsel wide and Leao through the middle. Since he's come back from injury, he's actually been better through the middle than wide left. It's 4-2-3-1 for us and a back 5 for them. An early free kick for us. Bacciarina to the back post. Leao heads down. Theo Hernandez gets over the top of it, fires past the keeper and makes it 1-0. Bacciarina just whips this free kick into the back post. Leao nods it down. Theo Hernandez just controls it comfortably past the keeper. Not much happening since that opening goal though. We are dominating the chances. Right, free kick for us. Benassa into the box. Leao, I think that was Theo Hernandez again with the header, this time landing on the roof of the net. And we've got a corner late on in injury time here. Whipped in by Benassa. And the header goes wide of the far post. And there we are, half time 1-0. We've not seen them as an attacking threat. We've dominated that first half, but we should be more than one goal in front. Right, we've made one change at half time. Sotel didn't have the best of first half, so Leao has gone back to the left wing, and Morata has come on up front, fresh back from his loan spell at Galatasaray. The second half started the way the first half sort of ended. Not an awful lot happening. Free kick for us to the back post, headed across. It hits Theo Hernandez on the line and goes in, but we've got a VAR check. It must be for the player that initially heads it. And it has been disallowed. So Bacciarina lifts it into the back post. And yeah, he is just a fraction offside as he heads it back across Morata. Right, we made a few more changes to get some more fresh legs on. We've got a free kick here, Profundi to take it. into Musa, and there's Parisi, who's just come on at left back for Teo Hernandez. Both left backs have got themselves on the score sheet, and they basically gave him the freedom of the penalty box for that one. Profundi goes short into Musa, who just flicks it around the corner, and then Parisi just controls the finish into the bottom corner for 2-0. Right, Calabria with the throw. Profundi back to Tomori. Back with Tomori again. Profundi down this right-hand side now. Finds Chukwueze. Puts inside. Gives it away. Both teams seem to be giving the ball away a lot here. They've got it though. Into midfield. We've won it back. And then lost it again. And two of their players have got in the way. Profundi to Chukwueze. Back to Profundi in the box. Goes in off the keeper. And that's 3-0. And that should be the 3 points 100% secure now. I mean, they've not had a shot on target and we've not seen a highlight from them. But two of their players just get in the way. Profundi runs onto it, finds Chukwueze, plays it back to him. And then Profundi, the keeper got his hand to it but couldn't keep it out. And from the kickoff, they've got the ball. And they've punted it out wide. And that looks like it's handball and a second yellow card. I don't think I've ever seen a handball for a second yellow card like that ever before in FM. And there we are, full time, 3-0, dominant performance. And we're 4 points clear at the top, ahead of Atalanta, although Atalanta are playing later on today. And there we are, the end of another episode, and things are going pretty well. We've picked up our first silverware in winning the Super Cup. We are top of the league table as well. We're into the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia. Obviously, the Champions League campaign has been a bit of a disappointment so far, having lost 4 of those league phase games. But we've made it into the knockout stage, and we now await who we're going to play in the playoff round. Join us in the next episode to see how we get on, see if we can keep this good run going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And there we are, the end of another episode. Season 3 is underway. Spent an awful lot of money to try and fix that defensive leaking of goals, and it hasn't really worked. It might be time to go back to the drawing board on the tactic. Coming up, we've got big games in the Champions League against Chelsea, Benfica, PSV. And we've got some pretty big games coming up in the league as well. We've got Napoli, we've got Atalanta, we've got Fiorentina. So hopefully we can figure out a way to stop conceding stupid goals. Join us next time to see if we can do that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.